Hey everyone, welcome to the Hot Revenge community. Are you ready for another intense story? Get comfortable, because we're starting now. This story is told from the point of view of the main female character. At my sister Skylar's wedding reception, I presented her with the deed to a condominium I had fully paid for. The property was worth $450,000. She removed the papers from the folder, glanced at the address, and instantly started laughing. With 180 guests watching, she threw her head back and laughed straight into the microphone. "Nicole, this is not the neighborhood I asked for," she said in an overly sweet, mocking voice. "I'm not living in that area. It completely ruins my image." Several guests laughed along with her. Months have passed since that moment. Today, I went hiking. I stopped at a small peak, breathing in cold, sharp air that smelled of pine and silence. I am not someone who fixes messes. I am not an easy target for blame. I no longer match the version of the daughter I used to be. Leave a comment with your location and the current time. It helps me know who's listening. You need to imagine my expression. It wasn't a smile born from humiliation or pain. It was the look I use in major merger negotiations right before dismantling the opposing legal team. That smile says, "I understand everything, and I am about to liquidate your entire existence." I call it my M and a face. My name is Nicole. I'm 37 years old. I'm an M and a lawyer, which means I live in a spotless high-rise office on the 50th floor. My workweeks regularly exceed 100 hours. My coffee is usually cold by the time I drink it at 3 a.m. My job demands absolute perfection in every document, down to the smallest punctuation mark. I am the fixer, the emergency contact, the one who signs the checks. My life runs on logic and executed paperwork. My sister Skylar is 29. Her goal is to become a major wellness influencer. Her life is a carefully curated visual performance. Her job, supposedly, is living her truth, which mostly involves expensive coffee orders, yoga retreats, and talking about authenticity while being financially supported by others. Every part of her life exists for social media. Our parents call her creative and sensitive. What they really mean is that normal rules don't apply to her. I sat back down as the chair scraped loudly across the wooden floor, the sound cutting through the fading laughter. The brutal absurdity of the moment hit me all at once. I had done extensive due diligence on that condo: structural integrity, safety compliance, financial stability, long-term value. What I offered her was security and permanence. She rejected it because it didn't match the aesthetic she wanted for her content. This wasn't impulsive. The system was already active, locked in, and ready. The 180 guests laughing had no idea what was actually happening. The groom, Ashton, staring at his shoes, didn't understand either. I wasn't just her sister. I was her venture capitalist, funding her life without permission or recognition. For 5 straight years, I was the sole financial engine behind the Skylar brand. I keep meticulous records. That's how I function. Exhibit A. The luxury high-rise apartment with a monthly rent of $3,800. 3 years ago, I set up automatic payments labeled temporary support so she could film with the right background. Exhibit B. The Tesla Model X she arrived in that night. She had called me sobbing, saying she couldn't promote sustainability while driving an old sedan because it hurt her image. I covered the down payment, and the loan is still in my name because her credit was, and remains, terrible. Exhibit C. Miscellaneous expenses, including $5,000 business workshops, professional photo shoots, and expensive wellness retreats in Costa Rica, all labeled essential for content creation. I paid every bill. You might wonder why I allowed this for so long. The answer is simple. I was trapped. My mother, Patricia, built a flawless psychological cage around me, starting when we were children. At family dinners, she would squeeze my hand and say, "Nicole, you're so responsible. You're our rock." Then she'd turn to Skylar and say, "And you're the artistic one, so sensitive." It sounded harmless. It wasn't. It was conditioning. My responsibility became a lifelong obligation. Skylar's creativity became a permanent excuse to take. My value was measured by what I provided, how many hours I worked, and how much money I gave. Skylar's value was inherent. She simply existed while others paid for her life and cleaned up her messes. That was the price of being the favored daughter. My financial support was never about love. It was the cost of remaining part of my own family. And she had just taken that $450,000 gift and mocked me publicly. The wedding speeches blurred together. The beef was overcooked. I stayed seated, sipping water, my M and a smile firmly in place. When the music grew louder and people moved to the dance floor, I stood and quietly headed for the exit. I almost got away. Nicole. I turned around. Skylar stood near the donut station, icing smudged on her wrist. She wasn't embarrassed. She was furious. "What was that supposed to be?" she whispered sharply. "Were you trying to embarrass me at my own wedding?" I looked at her calmly. "It was a gift, Skylar." "A gift?" she snapped. "That area is awful. It's completely wrong for my brand. Did you even think about my audience? My clients? Ashton's clients? There isn't even decent natural light in those units for filming." I checked the listings. She had checked them. She knew exactly what I gave her and decided it wasn't enough. "I can't believe you do this," she continued, her voice rising. "You're just jealous. You have your dull job and unremarkable life, and you chose to ruin my moment by making everything about your feelings," Skylar spat. "Skylar, dear, lower your voice." My mother Patricia interjected smoothly, adorned in pearls and her practiced, polite expression. She placed her hand firmly on my arm, her fingernails digging in just enough to remind me of their grip. "Nicole, darling, don't be so difficult," she said, using that sweet, poisonous tone I had known all my life. "You know how your sister is. She is an artist. She means well. You can simply sell the property and help them secure a deposit on a more suitable home." I shifted my gaze between my mother's smiling face and my sister's furious one. I tried to pull my arm free. "I am not being difficult, Mom. I am leaving." My mother's smile didn't falter, but her grip tightened, and I felt real pain. The sweetness vanished from her voice. "You absolutely will not," she hissed, her face close to mine, the smile fixed for anyone watching. "Listen to me, Nicole," she whispered, sharp and precise. "We all have our roles. Tonight is not the time for dramatics. You are the strong one. You are the financially responsible one. Your sister needs this support for her career. She requires a solid foundation. Your father and I cannot provide it. You understand that, don't you? Stop being selfish just because you feel hurt. Stop being selfish because you feel hurt." That single sentence summed up decades of financial exploitation. I was not a person. I was not a daughter or sister. I was a role, strong, dependable, the family bank. My sole duty was to fund without question. I looked into my mother's meticulously made-up, desperate eyes, and finally, I understood. She hadn't merely tolerated Skylar's behavior. She was the architect of the entire system. "Roles," I repeated, my voice stripped of all emotion. In that instant, the last trace of guilt, the provider's guilt, the "don't be selfish" conditioning, vanished. I looked at Patricia and truly saw her, not as my parent, but as the senior executive of this deceitful family operation, the mastermind. My M&A expression fell away. This was simply my real face. I turned back to Skylar. My voice was low, flat, carrying the calm authority of a legal summons. "Skylar, I need the keys to the Tesla now." Her fury faltered, replaced with confusion. "What?" "Stop this, Nicole." You are overreacting. It's my wedding day. The keys, I said firmly. It was not a request. The loan agreement is in my name. The insurance policy is mine. The registration is under my name. Legally, this car is mine. I will arrange a flatbed truck to collect it Monday, but I want the keys tonight. Nicole. My mother's voice exploded sharply. You absolutely will not do this. You cannot bring shame to this family. That was the ultimate provocation. I turned my head just enough to meet her gaze. I am not the one embarrassing this family, Mom. You both already achieved that. Through the large glass doors toward the valet, I signaled the attendant with a raised hand. Skylar realized the negotiation was over. No longer an influencer pleading with a patron, she was a debtor facing her creditor. Her face crumpled. She fumbled in her tiny beaded clutch, hands shaking noticeably, and retrieved the key fob. She slapped it into my open palm. You are horrible, she whispered, her eyes glistening with what might have been real tears. I didn't care. No, I replied, closing my hand firmly around the warm plastic. I am simply direct, and I have all the documentation. I turned and walked away, unhurried, my heels clicking sharply on the polished floor. The eyes of 180 guests were on my back as I stepped outside into the crisp night air, holding the Tesla key fob in one hand and the title to a $450,000 condo in the other. By 7 a.m. the next morning, I was in my home office, already on my third mug of coffee. It was piping hot and tasted like absolute triumph. My mind was fully engaged. This was no longer a family dispute. It was a corporate divestiture. I was systematically removing a poor-performing asset from my financial portfolio. My four-step exit plan was already in motion. Step 1, 1:01 a.m. I emailed my legal representative. The subject line read, Repayment Demand for Skylar. I attached the detailed financial records I had meticulously maintained for years, Tesla debt, insurance premiums, seminar fees, and instructed him to draft an official demand letter for immediate repayment. Step 2, 7:03 a.m. I logged into my banking app, found the $3,800 recurring transfer labeled Temporary Support, and clicked Cancel. A small confirmation box appeared. Are you sure? I clicked yes. Satisfaction washed over me. Step 3, 7:05 a.m. I spoke with my insurance agent. I removed Skylar as an authorized driver and listed the Tesla as pending sale. Step 4, 7:07 to 7:10 a.m. The final safeguard. I reviewed every account I managed, streaming services, online shopping accounts, apartment security codes, my phone plan, all shared passwords, every access point. I changed them all. The operational cleanup was complete. I leaned back and sipped my coffee, still hot, tasting exactly like freedom. I need to pause here. My actions that morning were rooted in facts, not emotion. When I returned from the wedding after midnight, I was utterly drained. Not merely tired, emptily quiet, overwhelmed by silence in my apartment. I took a long hot shower to wash off the sense of frosting, champagne, and betrayal. As I dried my hair, I noticed a plain white envelope slipped under the door. No return address, just my name, Nicole, on the front in familiar script. Inside were a note and printed papers. The note was from Ashton, the groom. Nicole, it read, this is just from me. I didn't know about the rent, the car, any of it. She said you offered minor help. I found this in her drafts while she showered. I'm very sorry about tonight. I don't know what to do. I set his note aside and unfolded the printouts. A cold shock ran through me. It was a screenshot from a shared iPhone note titled Nicole's Budget. The sharing icon showed two users, Skylar and my mother, Patricia. This list detailed future obligations, not paid expenses. It was a full-scale business plan. Q4 brand investment, Ask Nicole by October, $15,000. G-Wagon upgrade in exchange for the Tesla, with Nicole covering the remaining estimated cost of $30,000. Down payment for the new house after selling the cheap condo, $75,000. My hands began to shake, but it wasn't grief. It was an icy, silent rage. This wasn't simple entitlement. This was deliberate, calculated. A long-term financial strategy. A conspiracy. My mother wasn't merely enabling. It was worse. She was the co-manager, actively overseeing her asset, me. She wasn't just helping. She was orchestrating every step. I laid the documents on my counter. All the old guilt, the conditioned obligation to provide, the lessons about never being selfish, they all evaporated. I wasn't leaving my family. I was exiting a fraudulent partnership. Exhausted but resolute, I slept 6 straight hours. When I woke at 7 a.m., I wasn't angry. I was a lawyer executing a contract I was finally canceling. By 8 a.m., my phone was chaos. The muted family group chat had erupted. First, Skylar, are you serious? You canceled my lease. Our trip is tomorrow. You want to ruin me? Then an aunt. Nicole, your mother is frantic. How could you be so cruel? Skylar again. You stole the car. I'm calling the police. I watched the messages, a digital surge of manufactured panic. I didn't respond. I didn't defend myself. I simply found the screenshot of Nicole's budget, showing both Skylar and my mother's names, and posted it to the group. No comment was necessary. The noise stopped immediately. Complete silence. 5 minutes later, my dedicated office line rang, a deliberate power move. Nicole, what have you done? It was a shriek. My mother, Patricia, enraged but not crying. I leaned back. Good morning, Mom. I'm just balancing the financial books. Balancing the books? You brought shame on us. You ruined your sister, the car, the rent, your aunt's messages. You created a scene. I didn't create anything, I said calmly. I just stopped paying the expenses. Her breath caught. Anger faded, replaced by her usual tactic, tears. Nicole, honey, please. We're family. You can't do this to her. She's creative. You know how she is. You wouldn't do this to me. I waited. I held the note up. Mom. Silence followed, heavy and complete. The Nicole's budget note. The shared one. The G-Wagon. The $75,000 for the house. The Q4 money. I heard a small gasp. And lawyers fail all the time, I continued quietly. Do you know why? They let emotion cloud their decisions. They cling to bad deals because they're too attached. I won't be one of them. I won't be my family's bad deal. Nicole, stop. Her voice trembled, desperate. I have to go, I said. I have a Tokyo call. Enjoy your Q4 investment. I hung up. I didn't slam the phone. I simply pressed the button. That quiet click was the most satisfying sound imaginable. It has been 4 weeks. The family chat remains silent. They probably started a new one without me. That's fine. I didn't sell the $450,000 condo. I rented it out. A partner's daughter is a surgical resident nearby, and she and her fiancé needed a safe, quiet, affordable home. I gave it to them below market rate. They send me photos of the sunset from the balcony, saying the stability has been a lifesaver during 36-hour shifts. I find that ironic. The Tesla Model X sits in my garage. I drive it on Sundays to charge the battery. It still faintly smells like Skylar's perfume, but the scent is fading. It's less about her now, and more just a car. I didn't delete the Nicole's budget file. Lawyers keep evidence. I archived it, lessons learned, idling it safely for the future. It's 7 a.m. on a Sunday. No calls, no messages demanding money. I'm on my balcony, overlooking the city. I hold my coffee. I take a sip. For the first time in years, it's still hot. I close my eyes. I feel the sunlight and the strange lightness of a heavy burden I didn't know I was carrying. It's gone. This story is about reaching your limit, about realizing that saying no is enough. If you've ever been the responsible one, the one expected to keep everything running, share this. Someone out there needs the courage to finally set the weight down and reclaim their life. Aunt's messages. You created a scene. I didn't create anything, I said calmly. I just stopped paying the expenses. Her breath caught. Anger faded, replaced by her usual tactic, tears. Nicole, honey, please. We're family. You can't do this to her. She's creative. You know how she is. You wouldn't do this to me. I waited. I held the note up. Mom. Silence followed, heavy and complete. The Nicole's budget note. The shared one. The G-Wagon. The $75,000 for the house. The Q4 money. I heard a small gasp. And lawyers fail all the time, I continued quietly. Do you know why? They let emotion cloud their decisions. They cling to bad deals because they're too attached. I won't be one of them. I won't be my family's bad deal. Nicole, stop. Her voice trembled, desperate. I have to go, I said. I have a Tokyo call. Enjoy your Q4 investment. I hung up. I didn't slam the phone. I simply pressed the button. That quiet click was the most satisfying sound imaginable. It has been 4 weeks. The family chat remains silent. They probably started a new one without me. That's fine. I didn't sell the $450,000 condo. I rented it out. A partner's daughter is a surgical resident nearby, and she and her fiancé needed a safe, quiet, affordable home. I gave it to them below market rate. They send me photos of the sunset from the balcony, saying the stability has been a lifesaver during 36-hour shifts. I find that ironic. The Tesla Model X sits in my garage. I drive it on Sundays to charge the battery. It still faintly smells like Skylar's perfume, but the scent is fading. It's less about her now, and more just a car. I didn't delete the Nicole's budget file. Lawyers keep evidence. I archived it, lessons learned, idling it safely for the future. It's 7 a.m. on a Sunday. No calls, no messages demanding money. I'm on my balcony, overlooking the city. I hold my coffee. I take a sip. For the first time in years, it's still hot. I close my eyes. I feel the sunlight and the strange lightness of a heavy burden I didn't know I was carrying. It's gone. This story is about reaching your limit, about realizing that saying no is enough. If you've ever been the responsible one, the one expected to keep everything running, share this. Someone out there needs the courage to finally set the weight down and reclaim their life.